Let me say something right now that's going to make a lot of people angry. Your 800 credit score, that thing you've been obsessing over, protecting, babying, losing sleep about, it's not a badge of wealth. It's not proof that you're good with money. It's not evidence of financial success. It is a loyalty rewards program for the banking industry. Full stop. Let me repeat that because I need it to land. Your credit score is not measuring how wealthy you are. It is measuring how profitable you are to a lender. And right now, somewhere in a boardroom at JP Morgan Chase, at Bank of America, at Citibank, there are executives who are thrilled that you care so deeply about that number. Because the more you care about your FICO score, the less you notice the interest rate. The less you notice the fees, the less you notice that you've been paying on this car for 48 months and you still owe more than the car is worth. They found the perfect system, and today I'm going to dismantle it piece by piece. Because here's what nobody in the traditional finance world wants to tell you. The system was not designed to help you build wealth. It was designed to keep you borrowing. Think about it. Every single piece of financial advice you've ever received from a bank, from a credit card company, from a car dealership has pointed you toward one thing: taking on more debt. Get a credit card early to build your score. Finance the car. It's only $500 a month. Student loans are good debt. Take out a HELOC to renovate your kitchen. They are not giving you advice. They are giving you product recommendations, and every single one of those products has an interest rate attached to it, an interest rate that flows directly into their profit margin. So when your bank rep smiles and says, "I'd recommend keeping a small balance on your card to help your score," they are robbing you. Slowly, politely, with excellent customer service, but robbing you nonetheless. Today, we're going to break this whole thing down. We're going to talk about where credit scores actually came from. We're going to expose the buy now, pay later scam. We're going to do the brutal math on what an 800 credit score actually costs you over a lifetime. And I'm going to give you a real strategy, one that actually builds wealth instead of building someone else's bottom line. Stay with me. This is going to change how you see money forever. All right. Let's start at the beginning. Where did credit scores even come from? The FICO score, Fair Isaac Corporation, was created in 1956. Originally, it was just a tool, a simple algorithm to help lenders quickly assess whether someone was likely to repay a loan. That's it. That was the whole idea. But here's what happened over the next 70 years. Banks realized that if people cared deeply about their credit score, if they became emotionally invested in that three-digit number, they would make financial decisions designed to protect the score rather than protect their wallet. And that is worth billions to the banking industry. Let me show you exactly how credit scores are calculated, because once you understand the math, you'll see the manipulation. Your FICO score has 5 components. 35% payment history. Did you make your debt payments on time? 30% credit utilization. How much of your available credit limit are you using? 15% length of credit history. How long have you been in debt? 10% new credit. Are you opening new debt accounts? 10% credit mix. Do you have a variety of different types of debt? Now, I want you to notice something critically important. There is not a single category that measures your bank account balance. There is not a category for your savings rate. There is not a category for your investment portfolio. There is not a category for whether you own your car outright. There is not a category for your net worth. The algorithm is entirely, completely, 100% focused on your relationship with debt. How much debt do you have? How long have you had it? How many types of debt do you carry? Are you taking on new debt? This is not a financial health score. This is a debt engagement score. Now here's where it gets really interesting and really infuriating. Let me show you 2 types of loans. The consumer car loan. You walk into a dealership, You've got a good job, a decent credit score, they run your credit, they offer you a $35,000 car loan at 7.5% interest over 72 months. Your monthly payment, $538. Total amount paid, $38,736. You just paid $3,736 in interest for the privilege of driving a car that's worth $18,000 by the time you've paid it off. This is consumer debt. It's designed to extract money from you while giving you something that loses value. Now let's look at how a wealthy person uses debt. The business loan. A real estate investor walks into a bank. They want to buy a $200,000 rental property. The bank gives them a $150,000 business loan at 5% interest. The property generates $1,800 a month in rental income. The mortgage payment is $800 a month. That's $1,000 in profit every month. The bank is actually helping this person build wealth. But here's the key difference. The consumer car loan puts your money into the bank's pocket. The business loan uses the bank's money to put money in your pocket. The wealthy understand this distinction. They don't borrow money to consume things. They borrow money to produce income. But the credit score system doesn't care about this distinction. It just wants to know, are you paying your debt on time? Are you keeping your credit accounts open? Are you a reliable, profitable, long-term customer? And right now, the entire middle class is being trained through school, through media, through peer pressure to play a game that enriches banks and keeps regular people broke. Let's talk about exactly how that trap is sprung. This section might be the most important 5 minutes of this entire video, because this is where it happens. This is where ordinary, hard-working, well-intentioned people fall into the debt spiral without even realizing it. I call it the payment trap. And it starts with a single, devastating mental shift in how you think about money. Let me explain. When you were a kid, before credit cards, before car loans, before buy now, pay later, you thought about purchases the old-fashioned way. Does this cost more than I have? Then I can't buy it. Simple, logical, financially sound. But the financial industry has spent decades replacing that simple logic with a different question. Not, can I afford this, but can I afford the monthly payment? That is the payment trap, and it is everywhere. It's at the car dealership when they say, what monthly payment are you looking for? Not, how much can you spend, just, what can you pay per month? It's at the furniture store with 18 months same as cash. It's at the electronics store with no payments for a year. It's at the jewelry store with finance your engagement ring because she's worth it. Every single one of these is a trap designed to separate you from the total cost of what you're buying. Because here's the middle class mistake. People use their monthly payment limit as their budget. They don't ask, how much does this car actually cost? They ask, can I swing $450 a month? And at $450 for 84 months, that's $37,800. Plus interest, you're paying $44,000 for a car that started at $32,000. But you never saw that number because the dealership put you in a room and asked about monthly payments. Now, let's talk about the newest and most dangerous evolution of the payment trap. Buy now, pay later. BNL. You know the companies: Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, Sezzle, PayPal, Pay in 4. These companies have been marketed, brilliantly I might add, as a smarter, more flexible alternative to credit cards. No interest, just 4 easy payments. And people are eating it up. As of 2024, the buy now, pay later market is worth over $400 billion globally, and it's growing fastest among people aged 18 to 34. In other words, the generation that already has the most student debt is also the generation most aggressively targeted by BNL lenders. Let me explain exactly why buy now, pay later is worse than a credit card. Reason 1. It normalizes financing everyday items. Credit cards, for all their flaws, were at least mostly used for larger purchases or emergencies. Buy now, pay later has entered the grocery store. I'm not exaggerating. Klarna has partnered with grocery delivery services. You can now finance food. Think about what that means. You're eating a meal that you haven't paid for yet. By the time you've paid it off, it's long gone. You're paying installments on digested food. If that doesn't horrify you, I don't know what will. Reason 2, multiple BNL accounts create invisible debt. Here's the trap that nobody talks about. When you open a credit card, it shows up on your credit report. You can see your total debt, you can see your credit utilization, there's at least some visibility. But many BNL loans, especially the short-term pay-in-4 type, don't show up on your credit report at all. Which sounds good, right? Except it means you can have $200 on Klarna, $150 on Affirm, $300 on Afterpay, $100 on PayPal Pay-in-4, and none of it is visible on your credit report. None of it shows up in your official debt calculation. But it's all coming out of your bank account. People are drowning in micropayments across 5 different platforms and have no idea how much they actually owe. Reason 3, late fees are predatory. The no interest headline is technically true for some DNPL products, but miss a payment? Late fees can be $7 to $15 per missed installment. On a $40 purchase, a late fee is a 35% penalty. And because the payment schedules are every 2 weeks, not monthly like credit cards, it's much easier to miss one. Reason 4, it destroys your ability to track spending. Here's the psychological damage that nobody measures. When you pay cash, you feel the transaction. Psychologists call it the pain of paying. When you pay by card, the pain is slightly reduced. When you use buy now, pay later, the pain is almost zero. You're clicking a button on a phone screen. The item arrives, you've enjoyed it before you've paid for it. The psychological connection between spending and cost is completely severed. And that's exactly what these companies want. Because a customer who doesn't feel the pain of spending is a customer who spends more. Now, let me connect all of this back to the credit score scam. Here's the really insidious part. BNPL companies are now reporting some loans to credit bureaus. Affirm and Klarna have both announced credit reporting, which means now you need a good credit score to access BNPL, and using BNPL affects your credit score. They've successfully taken a product that was positioned as an alternative to the debt system and folded it into the debt system. You can't escape it. The payment trap has evolved. It's not just car loans and credit cards anymore. It's your groceries, your clothes, your phone case, your Netflix subscription. Everything is being financialized. Everything is being turned into a payment, and every payment is a leash. Okay, so we have established the trap. Now let's talk about the psychology of the trap, because the credit score scam doesn't just work through math, it works through emotion. Let me describe something, and I want you to tell me if this sounds familiar. You're sitting on your couch, Sunday evening. You open your Credit Karma app or your bank's score tracker. Your score dropped 5 points, maybe 8 points. Your stomach drops. Your heart rate picks up slightly. You start cycling through what you did wrong. Did I pay something late? Did I use too much of my limit? Did someone open an account in my name? Is this identity theft? You spend the next 20 minutes on Google trying to figure out what happened. You've considered calling your credit card company. You might have already opened the app to check your recent transactions. All of this over 5 points. A 5-point fluctuation that will correct itself within 30 days if you did nothing wrong. That anxiety you felt, that is not an accident. Banks cultivate that feeling because a person who's anxious about their credit score is a person who will do almost anything to protect it, including keeping credit accounts open they don't need, including making minimum payments instead of paying off debt because paying off a card might hurt my score if I close it, including never actually confronting how much debt they're carrying because confronting it might mean making a change that temporarily lowers the score. This is what I call your brain is broke. Not your bank account, your brain. Your brain has been trained, conditioned really, to treat a credit score as a measure of self-worth. A high score feels like success. A low score feels like failure. And that emotional programming makes you incredibly easy to manipulate. Think about it. If banks can make you feel proud of an 800 score, they can get you to maintain behaviors that generate an 800 score, which means keep multiple credit accounts open, keep borrowing, keep making payments on time. They've gamified debt. They made debt into a leaderboard, and you've been competing. Now, let's talk about the dangerous illusion of being rich. Here's what happens when someone has an 800 credit score and a middle-class income. They qualify for everything. Need a $70,000 truck? Approved. Want to lease a $55,000 SUV? Absolutely. Looking to finance a $40,000 kitchen renovation on a HELOC? Done. And here's the psychological trap. Qualifying for something feels like affording something, but it's not the same thing at all. Let me introduce you to what I call the pavement princess trap. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The $70,000 pickup truck, fully loaded, spotless, never towed anything in its life, sitting in the driveway of a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. The person driving that truck financed it for 84 months, $850 a month for 7 years. Total paid, $71,400, plus insurance, $300 a month because it's a new truck. Total annual cost of this truck, $13,800 a year. Now, why did they buy it? Not because they needed it, but because their 800 credit score told them they could, because a high credit limit felt like a high income, because that truck looks like success. This is the dangerous illusion. They look wealthy, they feel wealthy, they drive wealthy, but their bank account is being drained of $13,800 a year to maintain that appearance. And this is what I call the golden handcuffs. A person with an 800 credit score and $3,500 in monthly debt payments isn't free. They're trapped. They can't quit their job they hate because they need that job to make the payments. They can't take a career risk because if the income stops, the whole house of cards collapses. They can't invest aggressively because every dollar of disposable income is already committed to debt service. The golden handcuffs are comfortable, they're shiny, they look good on Instagram, but they're still handcuffs. And here's the cruelest part. Most people don't even realize they're wearing them. They're not miserable, at least not obviously. They have nice things, they go on a vacation once a year, they post photos from the beach. But underneath it all, there's a persistent, low-level anxiety, a feeling that one bad month, one unexpected bill, one job loss, one medical emergency could send everything spiraling. That anxiety, that is the feeling of wearing golden handcuffs, and the credit system put them on you. All right, we've talked about the psychology, we've talked about the traps. Now let's talk about the numbers, because this is where everything becomes undeniable. This is the brutal math. I want you to meet 2 people. Let's call them Alex and Jordan. Alex. Alex makes $60,000 a year. Alex has an 820 credit score. Alex is proud of that score. Alex drives a financed $38,000 car, payment $620 a month. Alex has $12,000 in credit cards across 3 cards, minimum payments $360 a month. Alex has $25,000 in student loans, payment $280 a month. Alex has a furniture loan, payment $180 a month. Alex also has a BNPL for a laptop, payment $60 a month. Total monthly debt service, $1,500 a month. Total annual debt payments, $18,000 a year. Alex's take-home pay after taxes at $60,000, roughly $3,800 a month. After debt payments, $2,300 left for rent, food, utilities, and everything else. Alex is barely surviving, but that 820 credit score, immaculate. Now let's meet Jordan. Jordan also makes $60,000 a year, but Jordan has no debt, drives a paid-off 2018 Honda Civic, no credit cards, no student loans, worked through college, got scholarships, lived lean, no furniture loans, no buy now, pay later, nothing. Jordan's credit score may be close to zero, maybe non-existent. The financial system would look at Jordan and see a ghost, a financial nobody, uncreditworthy. But here's the thing, Jordan has that $1,500 that Alex is using for debt payments, and Jordan invests it every month in a simple index fund with an average annual return of 10%, which is the historical average of the S&P 500. Let's run the math. Year 1. Jordan invests $18,000, balance with growth about $18,900. Year 3, Jordan has invested $54,000, balance about $59,500. Year 5, Jordan has invested $90,000, balance about $114,000. Year 10, Jordan has invested $180,000, balance about $306,000. $306,000 in a decade, while working the same job as Alex, making the same salary as Alex. Now let's look at what Alex has after 10 years. Alex has been faithfully making all those debt payments. Most of the credit card debt has been revolving. Minimum payments mean it barely goes down. The car got paid off and then replaced with a new financed car. The student loans are barely dented after 10 years of minimum payments. Alex's net worth after 10 years, being generous here, may be $15,000 in a 401k from the employer match. The car is worth $8,000 but has $4,000 left on the loan. Net worth? Roughly $20,000. Alex? $20,000. Jordan? $306,000. Same income, same decade. One person was building a credit score, the other was building actual wealth. Now let's talk about the interest cost of Alex's debt. Over 10 years, Alex paid $1,500 a month in debt service. That's $180,000 out of pocket. But because of interest, the actual total cost of those debts was higher. The credit card at 22% interest, if Alex carried that $12,000 balance for 10 years making minimums, Alex paid roughly $28,000 in interest alone. On $12,000 of purchases, Alex paid $28,000. That's not a credit score. That's a penalty for being middle class. And here's the opportunity cost that makes this truly devastating. Every dollar Alex paid in interest was a dollar that didn't go to work in the market. If Alex had invested that $28,000 in interest payments instead, at 10% returns over 10 years, that's an additional $72,000 in the investment account. The true cost of Alex's 800 credit score isn't just the interest paid. It's the wealth not built. It's the compound growth that never happened. It's the financial freedom that was surrendered, piece by piece, payment by payment, month by month, for a number. And I want to be honest with you. Alex is not stupid. Alex is not irresponsible. Alex is you. Alex is me. Alex is most people in America right now, because Alex was told this was the right way to do it. Build your credit, make your payments, keep your score high. Nobody told Alex what that advice would actually cost. Nobody ran those numbers. Until right now. Okay, I know this video has been heavy. I know some of you are sitting there right now doing the math in your head and feeling sick. Maybe you're Alex. Maybe you've been Alex for years, and now you're seeing the full picture for the first time. I need you to hear this. It is not too late. The math that just horrified you, that same math works in your favor once you flip the script. Compound interest is either your greatest enemy or your greatest ally. Right now, if you're in debt, it's working against you. But the moment you flip that, the moment you become the investor instead of the borrower, it starts working for you, and it works hard. So let's talk about the actual strategy. I call it the 9-to-5 cheat code. And it starts with one principle. Mind the gap. Not your credit score, not your credit limit, not your debt-to-income ratio. The gap. The space between what comes in and what goes out. The wider that gap, the faster you build wealth. The narrower that gap, or if your expenses exceed your income, the faster you spiral. This sounds obvious, but most people have been so distracted by the credit score game that they've never actually measured their gap. They know their monthly payments, they don't know their monthly gap. Step 1 of the 9-to-5 cheat code. Calculate your actual gap, not just your take-home pay minus your bills. Every dollar. Rent, food, transportation total cost, not monthly payment, total annual cost, subscriptions, BNPL payments, entertainment, everything. Write it down. Most people, when they do this exercise for the first time, are genuinely shocked, not because they're spending on big things, but because of the accumulation of small things. The $14.99 streaming service, the $9.99 app subscription, the $6.50 daily coffee, the $45 monthly gym membership they haven't used in 4 months. These aren't life-changing expenses individually, but combined, they can easily represent $500 to $800 of gap erosion. Step 2 of the 9-to-5 cheat code. Stop playing the status game. I'm going to say something that sounds radical. Nobody, and I mean nobody, actually cares what car you drive. Your neighbors are too busy worrying about their own finances to be impressed by yours. Your coworkers are too focused on their own insecurities to genuinely admire your truck. The people on Instagram who are living their best life with designer clothes and luxury cars, statistically, most of them are financing it. The status game is a game you cannot win because there is always someone with a bigger truck, a nicer house, a more impressive vacation photo. The only way to win is to stop playing. Opt out. Drive the paid-off Camry, wear the clothes that fit your budget, not your ego, live in a house that is functional, not impressive, and take every dollar you're not spending on status and put it to work. Step 3 of the 9-to-5 cheat code. Debt destruction, aggressively and strategically. If you have consumer debt, your first investment is paying it off. I know some people will say, but the stock market returns 10%. If my debt is at 7%, shouldn't I invest? No. Here's why. The stock market's 10% return is an average. Some years it's up 25%, some years it's down 30%. Your debt interest is guaranteed. It charges you every single month without exception. Paying off 22% credit card debt is a guaranteed 22% return on your money. Show me an investment that reliably returns 22%. Use the debt avalanche method. List all your debts. Order them by interest rate, highest to lowest. Pay minimums on everything. Throw every extra dollar at the highest interest rate debt. When it's gone, roll that payment to the next. This is the fastest, cheapest way out of the debt trap. And yes, your credit score might fluctuate while you do this. You might close accounts, your score might drop, and that is completely fine because you're not playing the credit score game anymore. You're playing the wealth game. Step 4 of the 9-to-5 cheat code. Automate the gap. Once you've eliminated debt, or even while you're doing it, start automating wealth building. The moment your paycheck hits, 15% to your 401k or IRA before you see it, 10% to a brokerage account invested in low-cost index funds, 5% to a high-yield savings account emergency fund. This is called paying yourself first, not paying the bank first, not paying the car company first. You first. Most people do it backwards. They pay all their bills, make all their debt payments, spend what's left on lifestyle, and then, if there's anything remaining at the end of the month, they might save some. There's never anything remaining. Pay yourself first. Automate it so it happens before you can spend it, and watch the gap turn into wealth. Step 5, and this is the one most people overlook: build income, not just credit. Your credit score tells you how much you can borrow. Your income tells you how much you can build. You cannot budget your way to wealth if your income is too low. At some point, the gap strategy requires widening the income side of the equation. This doesn't mean working yourself to death. Wealth without burnout is the goal. That means negotiate your salary every 18 months. Most people leave tens of thousands on the table over a career by never asking. Develop a skill that makes you more valuable in the market. Build one additional income stream. Not 5, not 10. 1. A freelance skill, a digital product, a side business, a rental property if you're in a position to do it responsibly. One extra income stream can double your gap, and doubling your gap can cut your path to financial freedom in half. I want to leave you with this. The credit score system is not going away. You're going to need a functional score for certain things, a mortgage primarily. I'm not telling you to destroy your credit or go live off the grid. I'm telling you to stop worshiping it. Stop letting it drive your financial decisions. Stop taking on debt you don't need to build a score you don't need. Stop financing a lifestyle designed to look wealthy while making you feel broke. Because that feeling you have, that persistent, nagging sense that you're doing everything right and still falling behind, that's not a personal failure. That's the system working exactly as designed. You were handed a measuring stick that measures the wrong thing. Your FICO score measures your value to a lender. Your net worth measures your actual financial health. Start measuring the right thing. Start minding the gap. Start paying yourself first. Start building real wealth that doesn't require a monthly payment to maintain. That's what this channel is about. No fluff, no get-rich-quick nonsense. Just the real math, the real traps, and the real strategies to escape them. If this video woke something up in you, if it confirmed what you've been feeling but couldn't articulate, hit that subscribe button right now, because I've got videos coming that are going to go even deeper. We're talking about the car payment trap, and how the auto industry has been systematically extracting wealth from the middle class for 30 years. The house poor epidemic, why owning a home might actually be making you poorer. The retirement account illusion, why your 401k alone won't save you and what to do instead. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's build real wealth together, without the burnout, without the debt, and without the banker's permission. I'll see you in the next one.